Welcome to Just Another Glam Up. In today's video, I will be painting a jewelry box that I found in pretty bad shape on the side of the road. The jewelry box was white before I even touched it. Two of the legs were broken off, so we just put some wood glue and clamped those together, and I didn't get video footage of that, but you can see that there are cracks here. It's also pretty dirty. It's not looking too great, so I am going to clean it very well. I've already taken it apart, all the different pieces. It just had a few screws, and I took everything apart just so that I could refinish each piece separately. I visited my local Hobby Lobby and I found a few stencils that I wanted to use. I ended up uh, not using all of them, but I definitely wanted to have this kind of be like a honeybee with the comb, the honeycomb, and the bees all over it. And then I got these half beads that I'm going to use on the mirror. I was thinking of doing these metal flakes, but I ended up just going with my metal paint from Hobby Lobby. It's a pretty gold color. And then you could see I'm going to use my Barely Pink chocolate from Hobby Lobby as well. And then I also picked up this from Amazon. I had already had this, and this is this like old newspaper I'm going to use to decoupage. First thing I did was, of course, take everything apart, but the second most important thing I'm doing is cleaning with this bathroom cleaner from LA's Totally Awesome. Totally Awesome is something you can find at your Dollar Tree, and for $1.25 for all that cleaner, it's a really good price, and it works pretty well. I know a lot of people that like Totally Awesome. And so I'm just going to get this all cleaned up and get all that dirt and grime off of there to make sure I'm working with a flat surface. There were some stickers on the back of the jewelry box, and I wanted to paint the back just because. And so I took my sandpaper and my sanding block, and I made a little makeshift sanding thing. Let's see, what grit that I used was probably 220 because I didn't really want to rough it up too much. Now I'm just coming in with my Barely Pink chalk paint from Hobby Lobby. It is folk art, and it is a matte finish, but that's alright because I'm going to put a gloss top coat on it when I'm finished. I used this smaller brush, Hello Hobby, so that I could get the edges without it getting onto the velvet, the inside velvet of the jewelry box. And then I have my little sponge roller, which I like to use. Really, I like to put it on with just a regular paintbrush and then go over it with my sponge roller. And for some reason, I find that I like that best. For this jewelry box, it took me more coats to complete than what I usually do. So it took about 4 coats, and I think that's just because I didn't prime, I didn't sand it. Probably if I would have sanded it, it wouldn't have taken so many coats. I'm just taking out the screws that are left that I missed on the back of the top of the jewelry box. At this point, I think I had gotten 3 coats on, and I'm just going in with my 220 sandpaper, using my block, and I'm just going to hand sand it. Again, because it doesn't need all of that pressure from the sander. I don't want it to go back down to the white that was originally there. So I'm going to sand this bad boy up and make sure that it is all nice and smooth and ready for the stenciling and then the top coat. This is the 4th coat. So this is definitely something that I already knew, but I probably should have sanded it down. It would have stuck much better, and it would have taken more paint for each coat, and I wouldn't have had to go over it 4 different times. But that's okay. I got good coverage, nevertheless. So you'll see me just painting and painting and painting and painting. And of course I have my coffee and I am just ripping and roaring. Now I'm going to decoupage with this wonderful paper that I found from Amazon, or found off of Amazon. It's this old-timey newspaper. It has some really cool stuff in there, I think, some old ads. And so I just use Mod Podge as a glue, and I set my Mod Podge down first, and then I go over it. Once I have the newspaper stuck, I go over it once again with the Mod Podge. And I think I actually put 2 coats of Mod Podge just to make sure that it was sturdy over each piece. This rubber cement did not work very well with the gems and the wood and the mirror. So what I ended up using was an epoxy mix. I think it was Gorilla Glue, and that held better. But I didn't like how it was very thick. I didn't like working with it, so I'll have to find a better glue. I'm just going around with these little gems that I got from Hobby Lobby, and I'm just gluing them to the mirror and the wood. I couldn't go out too far because then the lid wouldn't close all the way, so I am trying to get it mostly on the mirror but just a tiny bit on the wood so that we can still close the lid and it would, you know, look pretty good. I have used this metallics paint from Deco Art that I pick up from Hobby Lobby so many stinking times, and I love it. It is so pretty, and it's just, I love glitz and glam. That's why it's called Just Another Glam Up. But what I'm going to do here is just use it on this stencil. I'm going to honeycomb both sides of the jewelry box, and then we'll put a bunch of beads around too. And to do all of that, I'm just using this metallics paint. And now it's time for my second stencil, which I'm only going to use this. I use this twice, once on top and once on the bottom here. And I let this whole video play out this section so that you could see how to use the stencil if you're not working with a flat surface. And it's really just trial and error, and once you've done it a few times, you'll figure it out. But you can move it around. Use your, you know, your soft tapes that don't stick to paint. This is the honeybee that you saw previously with the honeycomb, and I just cut it out so that I could fit it into this little section because I wanted the whole honeybee to be on this one little drawer, and I am taping it down so that it doesn't bleed through and I get my paint where I want it to be. This stencil is a peel and stick stencil. It didn't stick very well, which I guess they make them that way so they don't peel the paint off. But it did work out pretty well, and I just did one on each drawer, each of these thinner drawers. And I kind of wanted them to look like they were flying up and out of the jewelry box. So I think that it turned out really cute where I placed the stencils. It was good placement. This is the second time that I've used this particular stencil on this piece, and it's so nice when you're doing it on a flat surface. Super easy. It's really cool when you pull it up. That's kind of my favorite part. This is the Dura Clear High Gloss from Deco Art that I get from Hobby Lobby. You guessed it. And I end up doing 2 coats of this because I didn't want it to be too shiny, but I did want it to have a really good feel. Let's just take a quick look back at what this jewelry box looked like before. And here it is, all finished with the decoupage. The handles I already had for a different project. I didn't like it for that project, so I ended up using them on this one. I thought they would be so pretty. We have a few bees on top. You open it up and you have your gems. I tried to clean out the inside as best I could, but the more I rubbed, the more it pulled away at that velvet material. But the bees just look so cute. The drawers pull out easy. There wasn't really a problem with that. The honeycomb on the side turned out really well. Some parts I wanted it to be dark, some parts I wanted it to be lighter, and you can see that it's reflected there. It is quite shiny, not super shiny, probably mid shiny, but I think it's beautiful. It turned out so nice, especially if you look at what it looked like before. And I am going to be putting this up for sale as usual with what I usually do with my pieces, because if I kept them all, oh my gosh, I would have so much furniture. But just enjoy some of these after pics, and like and subscribe. Please subscribe and like. I always forget to say that. And once again, thank you for watching Just Another Glam Up.